And we're continuing with the 5th chapter of The Treasure of Alpheus Winterborn. Anthony and his dad were walking home from his dad's work, and it seems like his dad is probably having a heart attack. 2 days passed. The heat wave went on. The thermometer stood at 80 in the middle of the night. And during the day, the sky had that yellow brassy look that it sometimes has during heat waves. Each evening when the sun went down, it was a red ball, swimming in a sea of blue vapor. One noontime, Anthony, his brother, and his mother were sitting around the big table in the kitchen waiting for Mr. Monday. They always waited till he got home before they started eating. It was one of their little family rules. The screen door slammed. Everybody looked up. It was Mr. Monday. He stood there swaying just inside the door, white as a sheet, with a glazed look in his eyes. His hand was clutched over his heart. "My God, Howard, what's wrong?" Mrs. Monday exclaimed. Mr. Monday said nothing. Moving heavily and sluggishly, he stomped past the kitchen table and staggered through the living room into the front room. He headed toward the parlor. Anthony, Keith, and Mrs. Monday watched him with fear and astonishment in their eyes. Then they jumped up, knocking over chairs in their haste, and ran into the parlor. When they got there, they found him slumped on the couch. His face was red now, red as a beet, and he was breathing like a horse. His left arm hung limply, and with his right hand he was fumbling with his tie, trying to loosen it. His shirt was soaked with sweat, and under it his chest was going up and down rapidly. "Oh, my God!" screamed Mrs. Monday. "Oh, my God! Oh, my God! Oh, my God! What is it, Howard? What happened? What happened? Oh, God, please do something! Do something! Do something!" She threw herself down at her husband's side and started weeping hysterically. "Jesus," said Keith in a low, awe-stricken voice. "We better call Doc Lucier. We better call him quick." He rushed to the phone and started dialing. Mrs. Monday kept on weeping, her arms around her husband's neck. Mr. Monday didn't say anything. He couldn't. He just went on panting. Anthony stood watching, horrified. He felt numb and helpless. 20 minutes later, Doc Lucier's big black Cadillac pulled into the driveway outside the Monday's house. Doc Lucier was a tall, elderly man who always wore black suits that looked as if he slept in them. His white hair was parted down the middle and lay in 2 even sheaves on top of his head. His face was small and square, and he had bushy white eyebrows. Anthony thought he looked like an owl. Keith went to the door and opened it. "Hi, Doc, it's my dad," he said in a low voice, motioning toward the parlor. "I think he's had a heart attack or something. He's in there." Doc Lucier said nothing. He just walked into the parlor, knelt down, and opened his big black bag. Mrs. Monday was sitting on a straight chair next to the couch. Her face was streaked with tears, and she had a handkerchief in her hands that she kept wadding and unwadding. Mr. Monday lay stretched out on the couch. His tie was off and his shirt collar was open. He wasn't breathing so hard now, but his face was very pale. His eyes were closed. Doc Lucier reached into his bag, took out a stethoscope, and listened to Mr. Monday's heart. Then he took his blood pressure. "How bad is it, doctor?" asked Mrs. Monday. "It's not good," said Doc Lucier as he unsnapped the cloth from Mr. Monday's arm. "It's not good at all." "Is it his heart, doctor?" Keith asked. The doctor nodded. "It sure is," he said. Mrs. Monday began crying again. The doctor glared sourly at her. "Oh, don't go all to pieces, Jenny," he muttered. "People have heart attacks all the time, and this here, one of Howard's, has been a fairly mild one as such things go. We've got to be careful, though. There might be another one on the way. That's what we've got to watch out for." He folded up the stethoscope and put it away. Then he turned back to Mr. Monday. "Howard, you just lie still for now. I'm going to phone the hospital and have them send an ambulance around to take you there so we can do an electrocardiogram and some other things." "Will I have to stay in the hospital?" Mr. Monday's voice, which was normally loud and cheerful, now sounded faint and whispery. Dr. Lucier shrugged. "Dunno. It will all depend, like they say. Just you lie there now. That's all I want you to do." Mr. Monday did as he was told. He didn't have the strength to resist. As soon as Doc Lucier was sure that his patient was resting comfortably, he called the hospital. A few minutes later, a big white ambulance pulled up outside. As Anthony and Keith stood watching, and as Mr. Monday sniffed loudly, 2 men in white uniforms got out, opened up the back door of the ambulance, and took out a rolled-up stretcher. They came in the front door, unrolled the stretcher on the parlor floor. "It's okay. I can walk," said Mr. Monday, and he started to get up. "Relax, Howard," said Doc Lucier, gently easing him back onto the couch. "It isn't every day you get a free ride. Sit back and enjoy it." Reluctantly, Mr. Monday lay back and let the 2 attendants ease him onto the stretcher. Out the door they went and down the front steps. "Oh, what are we going to do? What are we ever going to do?" wailed Mrs. Monday in a choked, weepy voice. "He's going to be all right, Ginny," said the doctor, patting her on the back. "Don't worry now," he added, even though he knew that saying "don't worry" to her was like saying "don't breathe." Mr. Monday only stayed in the hospital overnight, but when he came home, he had a fistful of prescriptions for pills he had to take. And he had strict orders from Doc Lucier. He couldn't do any work of any kind for 2 whole weeks. After that, the doctor promised he would check him over again and see if he could go back to work. Mr. Monday went down to the store and taped a sign. Or Mrs. Monday went down to the store and taped a sign up on the plate glass window of the front door. It said, "Closed due to illness," and we will pause there.